It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Led Zeppelin, Black Dog, kicking off a Thursday morning. It's December the 14th. I'm very excited, and I'll tell you why. Because we've got a hellacious show for you today. Not only will we be giving away Brian Regan tickets at 7:30. Brian Regan is as funny a comedian as you can see. 7:30, we're going to give away tickets. 8 o'clock, Gary Louris will join us in studio. He of the Jayhawks, legendary Minneapolis band. Gary and I are playing together Saturday night. The Jayhawks play over in St. Paul. Golden Smog, his offshoot superstar group, is the opening act, and they've wrangled me in for that one. He'll be with us. At 9 o'clock, Tiffany Norton will be in studio. Sam Ekstrom will call in to talk about the Vikings at 8:30. I mean, we are loaded, as they say, for bear, which I have to ask now. How do you spell bear in loaded for bear?
B-A-R-E.
Okay, what the hell does that mean?
I don't know. I was just going to Google hellacious. No, I haven't heard it in a while. I love it. It's bitchin'.
Loaded for bear.
I thought it was EAR. You're loaded with your ammo big enough to handle a bear.
That's exactly where my pea brain would have gone.
That's exactly what it means. Yeah, you're loaded for bear. You need the big 300 mag. You know. You need the big round.
Yes, I've just looked it up. Fully prepared for any eventuality, especially a confrontation or a challenge. So I'm going to arm wrestle Gary Louris, is what that means.
To play on the big stage that is New York, you better come loaded for bear.
Wow,
Where'd that come from?
I'm sorry.
Hello, dollface.
What?
Indiana accent I ever heard.
That's literally the sentence in the dictionary.
Get a load of the gabs on that one. Jeez. I like Candace. She's a good girl. Always knows when to pull out a cigarette, and she can offer you a gin drink like nothing you've ever heard of. Yeah, see?
And a good day to you,
man.
Candace.
I like New York Candace. We got to get her on the show more often.
All right.
Let's hear your Bronx cheer.
What?
What? Oh, man. So I'm excited. And with the holiday season upon us, my thoughts go back often during this time of year to the Sears catalog. The Sears wish list catalog. Did you guys get the Sears catalog in the house in the fall?
Yeah, and my sister and I would circle and put an initial on all the toys and things we wanted.
My brother Doug and I would open that bad boy up to the toy section towards the back, and we would have the book in between us, and we'd both be looking at it. And so if I were to the right, I got everything on the right page. He got everything on the left page, and then we would argue over who had cooler stuff. You'd turn the page. Oh, I kicked your ass on this one. He's you didn't see this G.I. Joe with Kung Fu Grip or whatever it was, and that would lead to literally a fight, because when you have 6 boys in the house, there's a lot of fighting going on. Not as big a fight usually as the one we had once where he told me that he had more grilled cheese sandwiches in his life than I had, and that led to us having to be separated by my mom. That was a whole different type of fight.
How does that even come up? That's great.
Because I was like, man, I love these grilled cheese. You don't love them as much as I do. Yes, I do. I have them more often than you. I have them every day. I'm home for the school in the summer. Oh yeah, well I'm 2 years older than you, so I've had more. No, you haven't. And then fighting. That was it. But the toys, boy, we used to go at it over literally things we would never have, because we knew 8 kids in the house, we're getting a couple things under the tree each. We're not getting 39 things under the tree. So maybe that's really what stemmed all the angst and ennui, was the realization that we won't be getting everything on these pages. That said, I was thinking about that because I just saw a story of the toy fad that was the hit of the year for every year since 1950. I associate all these things as just, they've all been around. But no, things were introduced one year at a time. Like, for instance, the Matchbox car. Now, we were a Hot Wheels family, but Matchbox cars were pretty cool.
Yeah.
They hit the scene in 1953. The Slinky in 1952. I can't imagine the Slinky suddenly being a new thing. I mean, the first time you saw Slinky, you had to be thinking like, wait, I mean, I saw one and thought, okay, that's cool for a minute. But in 1953, I'm sure a kid saw it and was literally like, it's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I purchased 2 this week.
Did you really?
Yeah, for Camden and Owen. A little, I don't know what they would be, grandnephews, I guess.
And they're plastic now, right?
They're plastic
they're not
now.
the steel anymore.
Oh, no. I kept the old ones.
You got the old ones?
And then I sharpened them, and I put barbed wire on them.
Attaboy. Tony, you were born in what year, sir?
I looked it up. The fad toy of my year was Silly Putty.
Well, I mean, that's
high tech.
Far more, but that's far more. That's like, but what's your birth sign? You know, like I don't buy into that. But you and Silly Putty, that really checks out. That seems like the exact thing that should have been the toy for your birth year.
Yeah, it is.
I looked at the wrong year. I thought it was Ken. Ken was introduced in 1961, and I was like, boy, that's going to be a good one. 1965, yours truly, the Chatty Cathy doll.
Yeah.
That was all the rage, baby.
There was a doll? My mom used to say that all the time. I wondered where the hell it came from.
Yeah.
It's like, well, she was a Chatty Cathy, so I've used it with no point of reference.
Chatty
which
Cathy
came first, the actual Chatty Cathy expression or the doll?
The doll.
The doll, I think.
Okay. I'm glad you cleared that up.
Chatty Cathy was second only to Barbie as the most popular doll of the entire decade of the 60s.
And my sister had one of those. Kind of creepy looking.
Let me see.
Man, yeah,
What
no
doll
kidding.
isn't?
A talking doll. Do we know what Chatty Cathy would say?
Oh, she has terrible bangs.
Yeah, really bad bangs.
Back in 1965, I don't know, can I
It's
make
Cathy
you
with a
breakfast?
C, not a K.
Yeah, it one that added it.
Pull the cord out of her back. It's spelled with a C, not a K. Zepp, your birth year is what, 66?
1966, and don't bring it up. Pass. Candace?
Oh, come on. The spirograph.
It's the lamest. It
No,
sucks.
it's awesome.
It
The
sucks.
spirograph was cool as hell.
I cried when I got it.
What is
I was
it
only
even?
born in
I don't get it.
1967. If Mom could have kept her feet on the floorboards.
Oh my God, that would be.
For about
You know what?
5 more minutes.
Yeah. Not only would you be able to. Not only would you have Sergeant Pepper in your back pocket.
Yeah.
1967. Actually, I don't have to look at the rest of the list. If you were born in 67, you win. Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
The best.
Cool.
Holy crap!
Nothing cooler.
I know.
That-
Spirograph.
1969's pretty strong too. Mousetrap.
Oh, hell yeah.
Has anybody ever played Mousetrap?
Hell yeah, I
Or
used to play it all the time.
Or
Not the
did you
full
just
game.
set the thing up and
Yeah.
then do that?
Yeah, never
What-
played the full game.
Yeah,
I
no,
guess
I don't know anyone that ever actually played a full game of Mousetrap. You just wanted to see if you could make that thing
That's
happen.
true.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, that was badass. 1970 G.I. Joe. Wow. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Strong year for 71. Let's get all the way up here to 1991, the year Candace Ashley Wheeler was born, and a Sega Genesis was
Yeah,
bestowed
you know
upon
it.
the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rocked the Sega Genesis. Little Sonic the Hedgehog in the early 90s. Sega Hockey. Are you kidding me? Well
Mortal
done. Well
Kombat.
done, Candace. It was a good year.
You're welcome.
That's it. Everything since, I've never even heard. No, I do know what Tickle Me Elmo is.
Yeah, that was my favorite. I was
wait.
obsessed with my Tickle Me Elmo.
Beanie
Ever
Babies
destroyed one
didn't
of
hit
those
till
on the air, Tony.
Beanie Babies
yes,
didn't
I
hit
did.
till 1998. Wow. What was that, Tony? Sorry.
Back in the day, went to a Bill's gun range,
I was listening that morning.
and it was it was one of those gigantic sit-down machine guns. I don't know what the name of it for. And I tore apart a Tickle Me Elmo.
Oh, that had to feel good.
Oh, what a cool experience.
Man. Yeah, I gave a Tickle Me Elmo to a starving pit bull once. It was great. I just watched him.
I was riddled with bullets.
I dipped.
not
Wow!
bad, man.
I dipped his little fingers and toes in peanut butter and said, "Here you go, Fido." And he just, man, that was good living right there.
Well, speaking of pit bulls, is it true that Pogues, the late great singer Shane McGowan, covered the bar tab at his own funeral? We're going to find out. Mike Evans' Hollywood Report coming up here at 6:30. Hang tight.
I'm gonna get you high today.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Top of the morning to you, is what they say somewhere in the world. I don't know. Marnin? I knew a girl named Marnie once. That's kind of close.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, it's cute. It's so cute. Any new developments from New York, Candace, or is she done for the day?
Hey, she's taking a break. I can't do this.
You got to work on that.
My dad is from New Jersey, so it's in there. I just gotta get inspired, you know.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
It's
You just gotta.
coffee. I gotta like
Or
Yeah.
drunk.
coffee. Get drunk. Yeah. All right. I'll get drunk. I'll get drunk.
Wow, wow.
A Jersey Shore thing going almost there. I like it.
What was that cartoon? Alpha Adults Aqua Teen Hunger Force. That was the best New Jersey accent of all time.
Love that.
That guy with the wife beater. Oh my God, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I haven't seen that in so long. That was the best New Jersey thing ever. That was more New Jersey than The Sopranos.
You had to be so high to watch that. They would just float.
I never watched it. I never saw it. I was never high. Trust me. That was when that sucker hit the scene. Every tour bus in America was just, you'd turn a TV on, it would just be on the channel that show was on. It's like just an absolute staple. All right, Mike Evans' Hollywood Report happens every day at this time. Some days, like today, he's not live on the phone. He has recorded himself. Who's in charge of this one? Tony, you or Zepp? Who's playing this today?
I got her at the fingertips.
Oh, you got it, Tony. Right on. Well, then this is what I like to call a little something called the Mike Evans Hollywood Report, lovingly presented by Mr. Tony Lee.
Hey, everybody, it's me, Mike Evans. Welcome to Thursday. So I'm sleeping in this morning after attending my wife's office Christmas party.
Attaboy.
Back 100% tomorrow, I hope. Everything will be fine. But I got some great stuff for you this morning. Odds and ends just when I thought nothing could surprise me. Mm-hmm. Kanye West shows up at a public event wearing, you ready, a KKK hood.
Oh, come on.
Well, that surprised me. Unbelievable. More celebrities drive Teslas than any other car, usually the $150,000 variety. So they can't be very happy with those particular models, all being recalled due to the autopilot defect. Mm-hmm. I know I wouldn't be too happy about it. I've talked about some celebrities putting on disguises so they could go out in public and not be recognized or bothered, and how Leonardo DiCaprio was really the best at it.
Right.
However, Keanu Reeves is a close second. A couple of months ago, Keanu started growing a long, scruffy beard, and he is now 100% unrecognizable. Said he did it for the holidays. And another reminder, Keanu Reeves is the most charitable celebrity in Hollywood. Celebrities branching out. Sofia Vergara has renewed her clothing line contract with Walmart, and her lines of clothes are actually very nice, great prices. She personally goes over every piece of clothing before giving the okay for it to be put in the stores for sale.
What?
Scoop. Michelle Pfeiffer is negotiating a cosmetic line that I understand is going to be fabulous. Will also include perfumes. And by the way, Michelle Pfeiffer, Robert Downey Jr., Angelina Jolie, Christina Ricci, Al Pacino, to have your attention, and others are starring in a closely guarded documentary drama called Johnny's Inferno. Release date, June 12th, 2024. Very guarded. When I find out more, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Oh, and that reminds me. While I will have movie reviews tomorrow, there is a huge movie news in Hollywood about a film being released in April of next year called Civil War. The film shows an American Civil War where the U.S. military attacks and kills American citizens in America who disagree with the government. And here's the hook. It's set in current day. This movie is bound to create a lot of stir and controversy, directed by the great Alex Garland. Stay tuned for Civil War. Hey, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day. See ya.
I just saw the trailer for Civil War last night. Kirsten Dunst and her husband Jesse Plemons both appearing in that movie. They got
What's
a good.
it about?
It's. I think if I remember what I saw and based on what Mike Evans said, apparently Civil War is about a civil war.
Oh, like a divorce? Or?
Yeah, that's more like Americans attacking Americans in America. I believe, if memory serves, something to that effect.
I'll Google it.
Sounds like The Purge.
He said there was a problem with Tesla's all getting recalled. The autopilot thing on Tesla has got a glitch.
Some recalled, yeah. 2 million.
Yeah, it's called autopilot. Not supposed to happen in cars. I think that's the glitch. I don't care. I would never in a million years trust a car to drive itself. I don't care.
Yeah, me either.
Day one, I'm doing it, taking a nap too,
Jeez.
or something worse.
You might be taking a long nap, brother.
Well, I mean,
Spending $150,000 on a car and then having a recall, that just would not. That's the key. If you really want to enjoy a Tesla, the key is to not let the car kill you. That's like the movie The In-Laws. Peter Falk, Alan Arkin, one of my favorite films of all time. The CIA, wow, the benefits program's incredible. The trick is not to get killed. That's really the key to the benefits program. That's what that makes me think of. How about New Zealand coming out with absolutely the coolest vending machine ever? There's a new vending machine, and it's called Slay to Play. So you might want to get one of the items in that vending machine. It would be this particular one dispenses beer. There are parts of the world where you can just on the street buy a can of beer from a machine. Those are called civilized countries, especially Japan, where I drank a half gallon of Sapporo one day walking around on the street like it was no big deal.
You didn't have to have a paper bag or anything?
No paper bag. No, I just bought it. I said, what's the biggest one? And literally a half gallon of beer showed up, and I was like, my God, I love Japan.
Here in the United States, we call that South Dakota.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, in New Zealand, if you want to buy a beer from a vending machine, there's a new machine down there that has a bit of a twist. It's not a question of you still have to pay money for it, but you only get your purchase if you pick up the guitar that's attached to the machine and rip a solo that the machine deems worthy.
Okay.
Wow.
It's like called Guitar Hero with beer.
Slay to Pay. It is incredible. It's essentially a souped-up Guitar Hero for adults, yeah. So the guy that invented it said it's a combination of a couple of my favorite things, cold beer and really loud music. Mm-hmm. Yeah, who doesn't like those two things?
I mean,
Panhead Custom Ales is making something called the Black Sabbath Barley Wine, 11% ABV. According to the company that's Black Sabbath beer, Candace, has, quote, an elemental darkness at the heart with powerful overtones of tobacco and bourbon.
Oh, great.
Just a little hint of rat droppings, I understand.
Yeah,
or bat. It would be bat droppings.
If you find yourself in Birmingham, England, if you reek of tobacco, bourbon, and bat droppings, you don't have to pay for food. I mean, they just give you meals for free. That's incredible. I love the idea of the vending machine determining whether or not you've earned your beer by how well you played a guitar solo.
Does it comment, give a review afterwards?
I mean, the beer is the review, right? I mean, if
don't quit your day job, mate.
Yeah.
What I see is a long line of people behind me going, "Come on, man, give it up." I'm like, no, I got it. It's Mary had a. How's that go?
You didn't quite
Smoke
shred,
on
did
the
you?
water.
The vending machine's going to, you get your beer, but this one's room temperature, mate. Sorry. The cold beer goes for the Guitar Heroes. You drink it warm. Boy, I'd love to just stand in line and watch people shred on that. It'd just be fantastic.
You know what would be cool is if they put a cam on that, a streaming cam on that, so we could just log on and and watch people just try and shred and get a beer.
They should. Why not vending machines? Why not have you have to answer 3 trivia questions, or you've got to it kicks out 3 lemons and it says juggle for 12 seconds. If you want. I mean, that'd be great, man. You gotta. Yeah, anybody can pay for a beer. Make me work and earn it.
I'd really want a beer. I'd bring my baseball bat. Here, I've got your trivia right here.
Yeah, really. Oh, I love it. I just love to see that that future generations are still thinking about all the things they should be. A car that drives itself, no thanks. But a guitar solo connected to a vending machine, that's the future I want to live in.
Yeah, right.
Speaking of the future, how about the past? How about a history lesson? Sports history on this day, December the 14th, only, 4 years ago, 2019, Joe Burrow won the Heisman Trophy. A couple things of note. He had the highest percentage of first-place votes ever, 90.7%. Far more interesting to me, before Joe Burrow's last season of college football, his father in Las Vegas placed a wager on his son to win the Heisman. He put down $2,000 at 200-1 odds. When they announced the Heisman, Joe Burrow's dad made $400,000.
Seriously.
And Joe said, that's nothing.
Yeah.
What do you see what I make?
Man, that's good living.
Yeah.
The only thing better than winning a wager is winning a wager on your own kid. Jeez. On this day in 2021, Steph Curry hit his 2,974th three-pointer to pass Ray Allen as the NBA's greatest career three-point shooter. That is astounding to me. Not that Steph has more threes than anyone, but that he didn't get the record until 2021. We are sleeping on how badass Ray Allen was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was pre-Steph where you just shoot from anywhere, and it took that long for Steph to catch him. Ray Allen, I'm sorry, man. Retroactive apologies for overlooking just how phenomenal you were on the basketball court.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
U2 from the album The Joshua Tree, an album I absolutely love and adore and will not hear a bad word about. I didn't think that at the time. I liked it in 1987. I was fine with it. But after our son Connell was born, the first time I ever sat in a chair and held a baby boy that happened to be mine, my first minutes as a dad, that's the record the doctor put on. So I sat there and listened to side one of Joshua Tree with this little baby staring at me, and I was just, songs are beautiful. I've never understood how beautiful this music was. And I hear it now. To this day, 23 years later, I still get all heebie-jeebied when I hear anything from that album. Just blows me away.
Very stoked they kicked that tour off. So many tours kicked off in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Kicked that one off at the St. Paul Civic Center, no longer there. 2 nights, and I got tickets for both shows. Man, yeah. And that was pretty wild. Good times.
You wait your whole life. You wait a long time to be a dad, and then you do, and then you hear a U2 song, and then you feel great about it, and you think, hey man, the rest of my life, this music's gonna ride with me. Now, I didn't wait as long as people in Idaho were waiting at an In-N-Out Burger. The first In-N-Out Burger in Idaho just opened, and the drive-through line is literally 8 hours long. I'm not making that up.
Go home and make your own, smash it with your own hand.
Yeah, it's not that good.
People are waiting 8 hours in their car. The line wraps around an entire mall parking lot, and they have it cordoned off like the way the TSA, where you snake back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for it's insanity.
I mean, the only way this is okay is if there's a band playing. It's kind of a tailgating scene, and people are doing shots or something. Of course, then they shouldn't be driving. But, I mean, wouldn't you just sit there about 5 hours back in that line and go, I don't really have much of a life. I really should get something together here. When
getting a burger from a place that, by the way, they're not closing tomorrow. They're just going to be open forever. You can wait a week or two.
Yeah.
Good Lord. When that burger becomes a quest, you've made a lot of bad choices in life. And by the way, I'm a fan of In-N-Out. I like but see, I like everything. I like people like, well, do you think it's better than Five Guys? I like Five Guys too. I have no beef with the McDonald's cheeseburger. I don't even know if there's beef in it, but I like it. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty good to me. Hey, we were talking about Christmas toys on the show. We saw a list of the hot fad toy for the year we were all born. Let's see. Tony Lee, you had Silly Putty. You win. I mean, that's just the coolest thing ever. I had Chatty Cathy. Zep had the Spirograph. And Candace had the Sega Genesis. All pretty good stuff.
Yeah.
Got me thinking about, okay, there's the stuff you were born, but what's the one you remember the most? Like, what's the one childhood Christmas present toy that just jumps to mind? And I'll tell you mine, but first we have a caller, Candace, who wanted to share a story with us, I believe.
Yes, we have Ray from Anoka.
Ray, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. How we doing?
All is good over here, brother. What do you got for us?
So, 6-year-old Ray received the first ever Nintendo game system with the Mario Brothers.
Wow.
A gift I still have to this day at almost 40 years old. A gift to this day I still have yet to beat. A gift to this day that has been the source of many arguments between my brother and myself.
Yeah, it is.
Also not ever been able to beat it.
Yeah.
Lots of broken controllers, lots of arguments, lots of yelling from parents to go to bed and not sit so dang close to the TV. But, man, I tell you what, that was the gift. My eyes opened up, and I couldn't wait to play it.
Oh, that's awesome. And I can feel it right now. I can hear it in your voice, that excitement, man. There's nothing like it. That's awesome. Ray, thank you. Thank you for the call, brother.
Work and just go home and see if I can still beat it or not. But I have yet to do it. But we'll see.
Well, when you do, let us know when you do. I still believe in you.
Hopefully the radio station's still on in 20 years, because I don't think I'll beat it.
You'll get there, brother. Thanks for the call, Ray.
Have a good one, guys.
1969 Christmas, a Hot Wheels set was under the tree. And it wasn't just cars. I mean, it was a whole track, a special track that had it had 2 charging stations that the tracks would run through. And 2 of them, and both of them were split levels. So you had like a intersection, but the high and the low track would come out of there supercharged, going faster. And this track we set up just took over the entire living room of the house. Yeah. And when I say we, not me, Doug, and Dave, the 3 youngest boys who it was for. My dad and the 3 oldest brothers set it up just to let us make sure we got this thing down. And they wouldn't let us near it. It's the one time I remember seeing my dad and going, he's kind of like a human being. He was just like, this is unbelievable. I can't believe it. He was the happiest I'd ever seen him. And literally the 3 youngest guys, it said our names on the package. No, back up, son. Back away. I don't want you to don't get any milk on the cars. Who knows what they thought I was going to do. But I couldn't get near the damn thing. I was 4 years old. I'm like, I'm going to play with a gun.
Of course.
Oh, I was losing my mind. That was the greatest ever morning of Gorman Christmas action.
That was, I shared that with you. I forget exactly what year it was, but we'd had to come down the stairs and through the kitchen of the old farmhouse, and then you burst into the big living room area there where the tree was, and holy Christmas crap, there were all the presents. But this year we came down, this one was unwrapped, and Dad had brought in a huge piece of plyboard because these race car tracks were so huge, like you would talk about. This one was the Tyco. If you guys remember the Tyco Stock Car Challenge?
Oh, sure.
Cars and their little controllers, and it was... I mean, my fingertips are numb just thinking about it. And it looked like it took up about half the house. And that was the one I remember throwing an absolute fit when Mom was like, put it down. We've got, I don't know if we're going to church or dinner or where the heck we were going. But I was not digging it. And all I thought about was getting home to that risk. In fact, I looked for it on eBay and found one that was a few years newer than that mid-'70s one. They wanted like $500 for it. I was like,
crazy.
I'm not going to take that trip down memory lane.
I saw that exact Hot Wheels set on eBay a few years ago, and it was like in mint condition, and they were asking crazy money for it. And I just took the link and sent it to my brothers, and of course then all of a sudden we have this text chat of, oh my God, remember that? It was so awesome. All of us immediately returned to that moment. 651-989-ROCK is the number if you want to give us a shout. My sister Ann got a doll one year at Christmas, and it was like a life-size, like huge. It was like 5 feet tall. I don't remember what its name was, but it was this giant. It just looked like a scarecrow you'd make for a school project. Now that I think back on it, but it was a doll. It was whatever. And we had the kind of house where a split level, house from the 60s, and there was a 2-car garage, and above the garage there was a bedroom with windows that looked out over the driveway, over the garage doors. That's where the basketball hoop was. Yeah. And I'll never forget walking up the driveway. It was a hill, and I looked out and I heard my sister scream. And I look up, and she's in the driveway, and my brother Dave is holding her doll out the window like I'm going to drop it. Like literally threatening to kill the doll. And Anna's like, no! And he's just torturing her. And he goes, if you come in the house, I'm dropping it. You got to stay there. And he was doing this whole, it was just awful. She was just ripped apart by that one. And then, of course, he ended up dropping it, and she freaked out. And then my mom had to kill him, and that's how that went.
Yes. It's like what Suge Knight did with Vanilla Ice.
It was exactly that. It was exactly that.
Bob checking in on the KQ Facebook page this morning. The NHL tabletop hockey game. remember that
my
one.
God,
I
yeah.
remember the electric football set I got. And in the morning, I received it. It was the Dallas Cowboys Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl edition, the creme de la creme of electronic football games. And I had it on my bed, and it was under the covers for some reason. And I sat down on it and crinkled. Remember that aluminum they were made of?
Yes.
And Dad tried to straighten it, but you couldn't really straighten it. So they all just pooled together there on the 50-yard line.
sure.
Well, they
Of course.
did anyway. There was never any controlling.
Yeah,
I mean, you
no.
hit the power button, and they just went.
They just went
They
crazy.
just bumped into
They had
each
this
other.
joke like Terry Bradshaw was supposed to throw this little foam ball and it would just flick out into the carpet where you couldn't find
Yeah,
it.
you'd lose
Krista
it.
said she got the big green frog toy box. Remember that? A pair of cowboy boots. She was a strawberry shortcake dollhouse, Denise. I bet you're about my sister's age. It was all strawberry shortcake. The crazy car. Someone got a typewriter. Sorry, Lena.
A typewriter. Wow.
I had a little kid typewriter, I suppose.
Maybe.
It was all back in the day. Trying to prepare you to be a good secretary
I was going to
someday.
say, this will prepare you for the future. Like
Oh, and then you got-
1987, someone hands you a
Right.
typewriter. Yeah, that's
Some
good.
great Minnesota answers here. Fishing poles and the Tonka trucks, baby. Lots of those showing
Yeah,
up this
I
morning.
had a lot of Tonka trucks going around the Gorman household. Candace, do we have another caller?
Lisa from Watertown.
Lisa, good morning.
Good morning.
What have you got for us?
Well, my best gift ever was we didn't have a lot of money growing up, and I wanted roller skates in 1982, and I got roller skates and a blue case, which was my favorite color. And my mom, being thrifty, made me pom-poms for them. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it was.
Pom-poms.
I was the hit of the roller rink when I went that next Saturday.
Oh, heck
Nice.
yeah, you were. Were you good on those skates? Could you do backwards and all that kind of stuff?
I could. I wasn't like, the teenagers by any means, but I
Yeah.
was pretty good. I didn't fall down, so that was good.
If you're not falling down on roller skates, you're better than pretty good. That's what I would call a miraculous
But
achievement.
that was the best. And growing up, not having a lot of money, that meant a lot because at that age, you kind of start to understand what things cost, and that I think that maybe made it even better.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for the call. That's a great memory.
Yeah,
All right, have a good day.
See ya.
Thank
Bye.
you. I love that memory also because I remember we grew up, we were the small farm out there in the middle of South Dakota, didn't have much money. And it was one of those years where we got everything we wanted. We thought, this is awesome. Santa rocks. And then found out, hey, where's App? Where's Dad's horse at? The App's not out in the corral. Dad had to sell App. And we found out he sold App that year for a couple of $100 to buy the Christmas presents, and Christmas has taken on a whole new
It's
meaning
like
for
the
me.
gift of the Zeppi. I remember that story.
The old Zeppi, good stuff.
But Dad, I bought a bag of oats for him. What do you mean you sold the horse? Hey, the 92 KQRS kickback jackpot is at $14,000. You can meet up with Woody and Bud Light at Size Bar and Grill in Chaska during the first half of Saturday's game. The Vikings play on Saturday this week. Kickoff is at noon. Sign up for the kickback jackpot. If the first play of the second half is a kickoff return for a touchdown for either team, you could win $14,000. If not, the prize money will roll over to the next game, and we'll add another $1,000 to the pot. Complete contest rules at 92KQRS.com. Zepp, let's give away some damn tickets, man.
Driving the other day, and I came upon a truck pulling a horse trailer with a sign on the back, caution, transporting show horses. Oh, 10 and 2. We're sharing the road with show horses.
I actually woke up this morning listening to that before I even knew we were giving away Brian Regan tickets. He's
He's
coming
the
to town.
best.
Yeah, he is. New Year's Eve, Brian Regan at the State Theater. Prize provided by Live Nation. To win them, first you've got to be one of two callers, 9 and 2 right now at 651-989-ROCK. We're playing TV or not TV for that chance at those tickets. Our runner-up today gets a 4-pack of tickets to the Glow Holiday Festival. Open select dates now through New Year's Eve at CHS Field. Prize provided by the Glow Holiday Festival. 651-989-ROCK. Dial up. Good luck. And hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. The holidays are just about upon us. In a few moments, we're going to give away some Brian Regan tickets. He's here on New Year's Eve. But ahead of that, of course, comes Christmas. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there's a tradition in Germany that I know Candace would like to know about, and it's called the Christmas pickle.
What happens?
Every year, an ornament shaped like a pickle is the last to be hung on the tree. The first child to locate the pickle hidden among the pine needles on Christmas morning gets to open the first present. Here in the United States. Yeah, I'm just reading the article.
There's some pushing and shoving over that one, wouldn't there?
Here in the U.S., the tradition is most popular in the Midwest, where there's lots of German immigrants. Listen, in Berrien Springs, Michigan, known as the Christmas pickle capital of the world, for crying out loud. So anyway, yeah, the last thing you put on that tree is the Christmas pickle, and the first kid to find it gets to open the first present. Man, that's kind of like, for a kid in 2023, that's like saying, no, really, Lost in Space, you'll love it. Let's watch it. You know what I mean? It's like, I tried with my kids. They literally looked at me like I was like I was an escaped lunatic.
Yeah.
You like this show? That's a robot? You think that's good special effects? I'm like, no, that's not the point. I'm trying to give you an insight into your dad's childhood. They were like, I thought they were both going to throw up watching Lost in Space.
I tried to get my guys to watch Star Trek, and it was the Gorn episode when Kirk is fighting the lizard reptilian man. It's just a rubber mask.
Yeah, right, of course.
Yeah, they're like, okay.
Neither one of my daughters has still to this day, I don't think they've probably watched 5 minutes of a Star Wars movie. Tried several times, but they just get up and walk out, or God, they can fall asleep. It's John Williams music.
Nah, forget it. Yeah, the Lost in Space episode we were watching, there was Idak, which was like an alien robot from another planet, and he walked around and he just said three things: crush, kill, destroy. Crush. And I'm like, that was really scary. And they're literally looking at me like, you poor, simple man. It's just unbelievable. And so I got a feeling if I said, kids, who's going to find the Christmas pickle? It would be that same kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Just eye roll.
Yeah, well, you know, I guess that's the good thing about being a parent nowadays. Unlike when we were kids, kids today don't pretend they like their parents. We had to act like my dad would go, I used to have saltines with milk because I'd be, that's amazing, Dad. Thanks for telling me.
Yeah, because they actually took things away from us. There were consequences. My kids know that they can roll their eyes. I go, well, yeah, guess who doesn't want to open it? They'll just start opening them. And all right, let me record you doing this.
Oh, well, that's the cracker and milk thing's a story for another day. But, a story for this year is New Year's Eve. That would, of course, be December 31st, a Sunday night at the State Theater. Brian Regan will be appearing. I have seen Brian Regan live twice, and my God, I laughed throughout both performances. I think he is as good as stand-up gets. And we have tickets to give away to see Brian Regan on New Year's Eve, and we have a couple of callers who are ready to compete. Tony, what is today's game?
Hooray, let's do this.
The KQ Morning Show presents...
yes.
TV or not TV?
Oh my God, is this real?
Yes. You see any good movies? The choices for entertainment are enormous. So many choices. So we're going to present to you a title and a brief description of the plot. And then you decide, is it an actual movie that has been seen or you can see on a streaming TV platform? Or is it something that was made up out of nowhere? TV or not TV?
Wow, I like it. TV or not TV? That is the question. Candace, who is contestant number one?
Jim from Bloomington.
Jim, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How's it going?
Oh, it's great. Great over here. Are you a fan of Brian Regan? Are you familiar with his work?
Not so much, but we'll go with it anyways.
You'll have a good time if you win these tickets, I promise you.
I got a feeling Jim
laughs
at everything.
Yeah, you'll be good to go, Jim. Let's do it.
I'll enjoy it. Me and the wife. What not? Why not, huh?
Attaboy. Let's do it. Tony's gonna take it from here. TV or not TV?
Let's do it.
All right, Tony, give it to me.
Win it for you and the wife. Here's your first one. Bringing in the cheese. A group of believers become disillusioned with sharing the gospel, finding passion and profit instead when they open a small sandwich shop in a strip mall. TV or not TV?
No.
Correct. That was made up.
Correct, sir. That is
Yes,
not
sir.
TV.
Your next one is Fine With Me. Substitute teachers on strike band together to take a wilderness canoe trip with disadvantaged students, the local sheriff, and a family of friendly otters.
Made up.
Yep.
Man.
Once again, you are correct.
I'd watch both movies, though, if
Oh,
you produced
I know.
them, Tony.
Yeah.
Number 3, Xanadu. A struggling artist falls for an ageless interplanetary Greek muse who encourages him to team up with an older big band orchestra leader to build a roller skating disco. TV or not TV?
TV.
Yes, that is real, starring the lovely Olivia Newton-John.
You don't need drugs when they take you to see Xanadu.
Lots of them.
Here's your last one, giggly boy. Dirty Mary Crazy Larry. Down on their luck and out of cash, Larry and his on-off girlfriend Mary plan to hold up a supermarket to buy a hot car, putting Larry's racing skills to the test in this chase-packed thriller.
That is a TV.
Nailed
You're
it!
damn straight it is.
1974 with Peter Fonda and the sexy Susan George.
I was trying to think of her name. I could see her. Susan George. All right. Well done, Jim.
done.
You just hit for the cycle, brother. 4 for 4.
Hey, thank you much.
My man was watching some TV back in the day. All right, we're going to put you on hold, Jim, and we'll see what contestant number 2 has to offer in TV or not TV. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Ken from Minneapolis.
Ken, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you a Brian Regan fan by any chance?
Yes, I am.
Attaboy. All right. Well, hopefully you're also a TV streaming movie fan as well, because we're going to put your knowledge to the test. Tony, take it away.
All right, Kenny, number 1, Critters. A group of carnivorous furry aliens escape from shape-shifting bounty hunters, landing in a small country town to feast on the residents.
TV.
That is right. Critters with D. Wallace and M. Emmett Walsh.
Oh, man. Can't get enough of that guy.
Number 2, a thunderstorm named Mitch. When Mother Nature destroys a century-old paper mill, business decisions must be made quickly by a group of investors led by a man wearing glasses.
Not TV.
That is right.
That's tough. That's a good one.
Next up, Life in the Pink. During World War II, the Navy sends a captain, a crew, and some nurses to patrol the Pacific in a big pink submarine.
TV.
That is correct. It was the pilot
Outrageous fun.
for the TV series Operation Petticoat.
Yeah.
That.
For some reason, remember that one as a kid. Like Ernest Borgnine or somebody in it?
John Aston.
Oh, yeah.
Borgnine was Poseidon Adventure.
I was like, that's pink.
Yes, it's pink.
Man, Mikhail, what was his PT 109?
Yeah,
What was
right?
the show he was on?
McHale's Navy.
Mikhail's Navy. That was
Yeah.
That's
Kenny, your last one is Timmy Didn't Do It. When a series of murders causes a wave of fear, a quiet suburban teen with an arsenal and explosives is the suspect until he changes the minds of law enforcement when he plays his saxophone made of gold.
Not TV.
Don't question
Wow.
yourself. You got it.
well
what a
done.
great inflection there. Yeah, and Timmy always does it. We
Yeah,
know that.
Timmy's guilty. Ken, well done keeping up with the Joneses, or the Jims, as it were. Both gentlemen went 4 for 4. These Regan tickets are getting hotter by the second, so it's time for a tiebreaker. Tony, what is today's tiebreaker format?
Well, it's just a simple question,
Okay.
and we're going to see who comes closest to the number.
Where there's going to be a question, and Jim will have your answer first, please, sir, and then we'll get Ken's answer.
Jim,
All right.
as you probably know, a blue whale eats a lot of krill. In a single day, how many pounds goes into the tummy of a blue whale daily?
Oh, wow. I'll say, oh, gosh, 20 million.
All right. So noted.
Ken, Give that question again, Tony.
A blue whale eats a lot of krill in a single day. How many pounds goes into the belly of a big blue whale daily?
I'll go a little less and say 19 million.
Wow. That's a lot of chow time.
We're not talking about every blue whale on Earth. We're just talking about one blue whale.
Well,
yeah, they're big.
Yeah. The correct answer is 7,900 pounds. So
7,900 pounds.
Yeah.
So Ken is just a little closer than Jim on that one. Ken, you, my friend, have Brian Regan tickets New Year's Eve at the State Theater. Congrats. Jim, as our runner-up, you're going to get a 4-pack of tickets to the Glow Holiday Festival. Open dates now, select dates now through New Year's Eve at CHS Field. Gentlemen, thank you both. Congrats.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. To put this into perspective, the 20 million and 19 million pounds answer there, I just Googled the heaviest object on Earth. It is the single iron crystal that forms the core of the planet. At approximately 20 million pounds.
Oh, could have used that question for a tiebreaker, damn it.
Well, no one's going to remember what I just said anyway.
You know, the blue whale is the largest animal to have ever lived.
Very true.
Not the largest animal now, the largest animal ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's big.
Whew, those bad boys are serious. They can they can grow to over 100 feet long. They weigh as much as 30 elephants, and a blue whale's heart is like the size of a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yes, I remember reading that. And they be eating a lot of krill.
A blue whale's tongue weighs as much as an elephant.
What?
Yeah.
I'm not making any of this up.
You know how much makeup you can make out of one blue whale?
Oh, my God. The candles you could burn forever. Blue whale calf is the biggest baby on Earth. At birth, they come out over 8,000 pounds.
Yeah.
It just doesn't even make sense. The ocean's not big. How many of these things are there? Like 4? I mean, how many blue whales could there possibly be on the planet at one time? Also this, and we'll let you go after this. Here's my favorite fact. The loudest animal on Earth by wide measure, the blue whale. Let's bring out the whale and see how loud he can be. 180 decibels.
Wow.
When they make noise underwater, 180 decibels. Yeah. Their language of pulses, groans, and moans can be heard by other blue whales 1,000 miles away.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So,
big mouth.
One more little blue whale fun fact. If you were to take all the blue whales out of the oceans, the displacement, you could walk from here to England.
Liar, liar.
I am a liar, but I'll tell you this. If you ever end up in a conversation with me over a few beers about which is the greatest band to ever come out of Minnesota, you're going to get an earful about the Jayhawks.
Yeah, you are.
The band's cornerstone, Gary Louris, joining us in studio at 8 o'clock. He's got a solo show tomorrow night in Duluth and a big Saturday night show with his local all-star band, Golden Smog. I hear they're breaking in a new drummer. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Oh, my word. In about 30 minutes, we're talking with Sam Ekstrom about the Vikings. In an hour, Tiffany Norton's going to stop by. But right now, it's a pretty momentous moment for me personally and for Brian Zepp and for everybody out there because Gary Louris himself has stopped by the studios. Gary Louris, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Local legend. How about that? How does that sit on your shoulder, fella?
I'll take it. Local, international, celebrity.
Man of mystery, whatever it takes. Gary Louris, the Jayhawks. I'll just go ahead and let's just get right to it. Brian Zepp's favorite band on earth. That's him laughing nervously at the idea of even speaking with you right now.
Brian. I hear you used to follow us around. You were that guy, huh?
Yeah, I was that guy. Yeah, in fact, I think I got kicked out of one of your shows for sneaking in a bottle of schnapps up in St. Cloud. I think you were playing on the campus, the Hollywood Town Hall tour, and I remember it was in the fall, and I followed around the Midwest dates best I could, but it was getting chilly out there. I was in my Carhartts, and you came to 917 North Lilac Drive. I forget which station we had down there in 105. I believe it was Brian Oaks, and you came walking by. Brian Oaks stops. I'm standing right there, and I look up, and there's Gary Louris. I just saw him, and he's standing right there in the hallway. over at the old radio station, and Brian goes, "Oh, that's right, Zepp, you're a big fan of Gary. Say hi." And I went, "Huh?" And you kind of
There it is.
just kept walking. Yeah, I said, "Huh?" So I don't have any questions for you. How do you keep your hair so curly?
Oh, man.
That's my question for
There
you.
it is.
No, I don't anymore.
No?
If I grow it out, I look like an old lady, so I'm cut it back, but I still got it.
I'm entering that zone. This is the last. I mean, I'm close to cropping it and keeping it cropped because I myself sometimes look in the mirror and think 80s female bowler haircut looking like I'm like the LPBA tour vibe going here.
Yeah.
You know, look, where's my wrist guard? Maybe I'll go knock down a few on the waxwood. Gary, the Jayhawks don't need a whole lot of introduction around here. It's been, I mean, literally, what are we looking at now? 35 years, probably? 30? Close to that.
More than it. Almost started
40?
in 85.
Oh, my gosh.
February 85.
We're closing in on 40, my man.
Yep.
That's a hell of a run.
Get my gold watch, and you and I have a lot of history because
we certainly do.
We were label mates back with Deaf American.
We were signed by the same guy at the same label.
Right. You're George Trikulius produced Hollywood Town Hall and Tomorrow the Green Grass, and he
our first two albums as well. The Black Crowes' first two albums. Georgie Boy. And I still remember the first time I met any of the Jayhawks. You guys, I believe it was in Chicago. You came to see us at a gig. We were opening for somebody somewhere.
Aerosmith, I think, or something.
Was it
like
that? I just remember, and it was like, that's the Jayhawks. And we were, sniffing it. The way, rival dog packs sniff each other. Yeah, they seem kind of cool. We like their record, but are they cool or not? And then many good times followed suit very shortly thereafter.
You guys definitely influenced our stage wear. After hanging out with you guys, I went and got my jeans tailored so
nice,
tight, and had bell bottom. I remember in Cincinnati, I went to this store and I bought these corduroy bell bottoms and this big polyester shirt.
I know that store, Trivets.
So cool, And I walked into your dressing room and Chris said, "Hey, look, it's Greg Brady." I went, screw it. I went back to my peg leg jeans and I never turned back.
Yeah, I was. You didn't see me in bell bottoms.
You did.
I had more of a linebacker vibe, so it just didn't. That sort of look didn't fit with me, but it was good at the time. But now let's talk about what's going on right now because you and I go back. 33 years. We met in 1990. And two things come to mind. First, you're a great golfer, and it just pisses me off that you've got you're like a Freddie Couples, as beautiful, the most efficient swing I've ever seen a musician take.
Efficient. It's pretty. Let's say
it's
that.
It's pretty. Oh man,
efficiency, not so much.
Man, is it a pretty swing? And then you're one of those guys. I like to think I call people like you a-holes because you sing and play and write great. You do it all. It's the triple threat. I'm like, man. Man, he's a ripping guitarist, and he sings like a bird. Oh, and he writes great songs. What a jerk.
I know.
Yeah, so
I apologize. I'll stop doing it.
You're carrying around a lot there to go with that swing.
Yeah, now we get to play together.
And we get to play together. Saturday night, the Jayhawks are playing. It's a Christmas show. You do this every year, correct?
Yeah, it's technically not a Christmas
holiday show.
We play a smattering of some holiday songs, but mostly it's just a Jayhawks show.
A seasonal
during
gig,
the Christmas season.
Right. A tradition, if you will.
If you will, yeah.
So the Jayhawks are playing. This is at the Palace in St. Paul.
That's right.
Saturday night.
Beautiful
This show's sold out, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Although it will be live streamed as well.
What?
That's what I hear. That's what that's
awesome.
That's the ugly rumor.
And you can find that on our website, PD.
Man. Get to the
stuff is here.
You can see those links.
Sidekick PD, and it's on Jayhawksofficial.com.
Jayhawksofficial.com.
Holiday show live stream. Yeah, I've got Christmas crap out of town this weekend, and I've been trying to get estranged from the family ever since, but I'll be live streaming along. I'm on Jayhawksofficial.com.
They can watch it after any time that they want.
Anytime. But I'd say get on there live Saturday night. If we're going to be there, you should be there. And then so I'm not playing with the Jayhawks, but now Golden Smog is the opening act. Another one of your bands. This is what they would call in the old days.
Steve Gorman and his Golden Smog.
Steve Gorman's Golden Smog. Yeah. Steve Gorman's Golden Smog featuring Steve Gorman will be the opening act on Saturday night.
Special guest Steve Gorman.
And so Golden Smog back in the day, that was what we called a good old-fashioned supergroup.
Yeah, or as they often called a stupor group.
A stupor group.
Yeah.
This was originally when did this start? Golden Smog. Now 95 was the first album.
89,
but it went back to the 89.
Skid Mark, T Square, and Q Stick. That went into
right. Okay.
His Majesty's Paycheck.
Yeah.
His Satanic Majesty's Paycheck.
That's a good one.
Baldy Pills, Cash and Guns, and then it became Golden Smog after the Flintstones.
And so it was just it's a group of guys from a bunch of different bands, mostly Minneapolis bands, correct?
Mostly Minneapolis bands. Soul Asylum, Run Westy Run, Jayhawks, and then we've had different drummers. We had Chris Mars from The Replacements. We've had we had Jody Stevens from Big Star. Now we have Steve Gorman. So Tweedy's not going to be at this show, but he floats in and out. So
Jeff Tweedy from Wilco is in and out occasionally.
Out this time, but we got Steve Gorman, so who cares?
Well, here's a fun fact. You'll never see me and Tweedy in the same place, and that's all I'll say about it.
Interesting.
So we're going to do this Saturday night. And then, but before that, that's not all, because tomorrow night, Friday night, you will be, that is tomorrow. Wow. You'll be in Duluth at the, wait for it, Sacred Heart Music Center playing, just a solo gig.
That's right. Just me and my guitar.
You and your guitar.
Playing some new songs, some old songs, some borrowed, some blue.
Anybody that's going to find themselves in Duluth tomorrow night, I would highly recommend that, because I saw you do this at the Parkway earlier this year, and it was absolutely extraordinary.
Thank you.
It's one of those nights, really, I'm sitting there going, well, if I didn't know him, I'd probably have tears in my eyes right now. This is beautiful, but since I know him, I have to act cool.
Thank you. And you know, it's the only killer about tomorrow night is Jerry Seinfeld's in Duluth. And my wife and I, Steph and
overrated.
We're such huge Seinfeld fans. And,
that's a drag.
And it's like we can never quite get there. So he's going to be in Duluth, of all places, tomorrow night playing. I think I play at 9 p.m., right?
Yeah.
I don't know when Jerry. We've invited Jerry. I don't think he's going to make it over. He's going to rush over after his set, but.
Yeah, that's it's always, I can't tell you, well, you would know this, but when you get on the road and you're touring, the number of times you're in a town with the one person you're dying to see at the same time, it's kind of astounding how often that happens.
I know.
Yeah, it's tough.
You know what? He's probably doing the same thing. Like, God,
I
really want to see
Jayhawks,
Gary Louris.
I've been waiting. I've been waiting for this guy. So you are not a Minneapolis native, though. You're an Ohio guy. Yeah,
Toledo. I'm a Buckeye.
And
Toledo, Ohio. And I came here in '73 to go to college, and was an architect. I graduated from the University of Minnesota as an architect, and I was only in a band after I wasn't in a band until I was 26.
You graduated from the University of Minnesota with an architecture degree.
That's correct.
So just total smart guy over there, and then
I'm a Renaissance man.
And then at some point realized I if I don't do this music thing, I'm going to kick myself. Was it kind of like that?
There was a crossroads in '91 where I was going to go to Columbia University to graduate school for restoration architecture, and we got signed to Deaf American, Rick Rubin's, and that was the crossroads, and I picked.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was. I similarly was in college. I didn't graduate though. I was a semester short when I dropped out and decided I have to go do this.
Dude.
I still hadn't really ever played drums though. That was my only problem. I talked myself into a corner there. Yeah, I talked myself into a band before I'd ever actually really done anything. But it worked out. Just blind luck.
What was the first band?
The first band was called Marry My Hope. And we played 3 gigs, and then I jumped ship and jumped onto the Crazy Boat. And then, and then hilarity ensued.
My first band was called Schnauzer.
Schnauzer? Was it here in Minneapolis?
Yes, it was.
Hold on.
We decided we were going to come up with the dumbest name, and we succeeded.
Gary Louris, Schnauzer, your first band. 4-piece, 5-piece? How many guys in this band?
British rock cover, British all the time. And we only played we played a Legion Hall. We played 2 bars, I think. We're more for fun.
But so between songs, were you saying, like, isn't that songs off a folk record? You weren't doing this horrible British accents?
No, definitely not.
Okay, very good. So from Schnauzer, so that's what, early 80s, I guess?
Early 80s, I think.
Man, and then how? So then you're in the scene. Then Schnauzer gets you in the door,
kind of, yeah.
Kind of, in the way it could.
Safety Last was the next. This is boring to people, but
No,
it was
it's
like a
great.
rockabilly band, and that got me in the scene.
Well, that's
we were
that's
on Twin Tone Records.
Well, the reason this is not boring is because you were talking about you getting yourself into a scene that was as vibrant and as important in hindsight as any music scene in the country at that time.
Oh, it was.
I mean, early '80s Minneapolis is the stuff of legend for good
we
reason.
were on the cover of the scene was on the cover of Newsweek. I remember that.
Sure.
And because they had all the bands, the Replacements, Husker Du, Soul Asylum, Jayhawks, all these bands, and there was Prince, The Time, all that was happening at the same time.
And here's a fun fact: a lot of people don't know you wrote Raspberry Beret, didn't you?
Yeah, they did.
Right.
Yeah,
uncredited.
That's okay.
Little bastard stole it from you. Maybe. I don't know. It sounds good. I'd like to think you did. Gary Louris is in Duluth tomorrow night at the Sacred Heart Music Center. The Jayhawks are in St. Paul Saturday night with Golden Smog opening. Steve Gorman's Golden Smog featuring Steve Gorman. That's going to be. I'm so excited, and we've actually been rehearsing this week. And
you're going to be there as soon as your sofa's delivered.
I've been having a great time. I'm playing all these songs. I said to you yesterday, I was the Golden Smog records. I've had them for years, but man, what a bunch of good songs.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I was, you know what, Royal. You know what.
Well, it's got to be done. You made the call, and when the bell rings, I do come out swinging. You know what I mean?
We do want to eventually we need a regular segment where we can call in and talk some sports. My wife, Steph, I moved to Canada, so everything, it could be the world's on fire, but topping the news,
sure,
the Maple Leafs lost to the, it's all about hockey.
That's how it is.
And I could sit there and talk about how angry I still am about Parisi and Suter still taking so much money from the. Chaps my.
Yeah.
There goes Zepp. You and Brian can go get drunk and talk all about this.
Any old ties to Ohio football? Because we've got the Vikings visiting Cincinnati this weekend. You don't cheer for any of those old Ohio teams any longer?
No, not really. I moved on from that.
Fun fact about Gary Louris. I moved to Minneapolis a year ago in January. Right after I got to town, you and I FaceTimed. You were at home in Quebec, and we were FaceTiming, and it was a Sunday, and you were wearing a Vikings jersey on that FaceTime call.
Yeah,
and I was like, man, that is solid right there, brother.
We're Vikes fans, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, strong Vikings connection.
Yeah, they'll break our hearts.
Sure. You said it then. I said, so playoff game Giants, and you were like, yeah, I'm not feeling good about it, but we're going to watch. You're the first of 40 Vikings fans to say that.
It's very similar to the Maple Leafs. Toronto, they've broken their fan base's heart. For
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how that goes.
Wild have done a fair amount of that as well.
Yeah, well, you know why? Because the two guys still get
Yeah,
paid.
right.
We won't talk about
I thought that was a slam
Here we
freaking
go.
dunk, man. I thought at least
I had to get that out there. That's the whole reason I came on the air. I don't really care about the shows.
Yeah.
The promo.
Just wants to bitch about the Wild. All right. Well, then. By the way, you just opened a door. I hope you're ready to walk through because we'll have you back on for hockey segments on the regular.
It's one of the great reasons to be on radio in Minnesota.
Vikings
Bitch about
and
sports.
Wild.
All right, Vikings and Wild with Gary Louris. We're gonna put that together. We'll get some imaging together. We'll take photos. We'll get matching tattoos. It's gonna be awesome. Gary Louris is at the Sacred Heart Music Center in Duluth tomorrow night. I can't stress enough how wonderful it is to see this man holding a guitar by himself, singing wonderful songs. And then, of course, Saturday night we're gonna have a blast in St. Paul. It is always not just a pleasure but an honor. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you, Steve. I'll see you at rehearsal.
That's right. Oh yeah, I'll see you later. All right, whatever.
Later.
All right, Zepp, what do we got next?
Well, first of all, just thank you, Gary, lastly, for the effort all these decades. I appreciate it. All right, we're talking Vikes. We're going to get into the Vikes here. We have a Vikings insider, our guy Sam Ekstrom, all about the Vikes in Ohio this Saturday. Saturday. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. In 30 minutes from right now, Tiffany Norton will be in studio with us. Very funny lady. Looking very forward to chatting with her. We just had Gary Louris in the studio. Jayhawks playing Saturday night in St. Paul. Gary's playing tomorrow night in Duluth. If you happen to be up north tomorrow night, man, you could do a lot worse than hanging out with Gary Louris for a night. One of my favorite writers ever music in rock and roll music. And he just happens to be a great singer and great guitarist as well. Kind of a triple threat jerk, I like to call him. Great to chat with him. Sam Ekstrom's going to be is Sam with us already, Candace? I'm sorry. I'm getting my smoke signals crossed. Sam is, of course, a host and the Vikings insider for the podcast network Locked On Minnesota. You hear him on the Ron Johnson Show, the Minnesota Football Party, and the Vikings postcast after each game. Sam, I have to imagine after the last time we saw the Vikings, that postgame was quite an adventure.
Yeah, that was as ugly as it gets. It was almost in the range, though, where it was so ugly that it was enthralling and you couldn't stop watching. It got into that territory where it was historically bad.
I said that on Monday. I said I hate watched every play, and I was actually disappointed when they scored. I wanted the Vikings to win, but I wanted it to happen in overtime. I wanted 3-0 in OT.
And I think that would have been one of the first ever in NFL history to go the full length without point. That would have been awesome, and I was right there with you. I was hoping for a 0-0 tie at that point. Why not go all the way?
So suffice to say, the Josh Dobbs era has probably come to an end, at least as a starter. And we've been talking about him and the fact that there's some overthinking. The stuff we saw on display the first couple weeks, largely the benefit of him not knowing what he was doing. So how could the defense possibly know what he was going to do? Once he was trying to play a more conventional style, it sort of caved in on him. What did you think? We only got a few minutes of it, but what did you think? The one drive that scored, thankfully, thanks to the fact that Josh Dobbs was no longer playing. Any thoughts as this team moves forward in what you saw from the quarterback whose name is escaping me right now? Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins. Yeah. I think it was a good move by Kevin O'Connell. I mean, it wasn't too late to salvage that game, and Dobbs just didn't have it. I mean, the accuracy totally escaped him. He was getting guys hurt, by putting, passes in bad spots. It just wasn't working out. And to O'Connell's credit, he pulled the plug very late, and he got the result he wanted, which was a simple field goal drive. And I observed this all preseason with Nick Mullins. He is a rhythm passer. He is going to deliver the ball, maybe not accurately, but he is going to deliver the ball on time to a receiver. And he doesn't have the option of scrambling. I mean, he's kind of a statue back there, but because that's who he is, he's used to hanging in the pocket for an extra second and throwing in rhythm. And he had a couple big third down completions on that drive that got the Vikings in range, which is what you want him to do. And that's what he did all preseason, too. He played turnover-free football and was fairly productive. So I think the chaos of Josh Dobbs is probably gone now with Nick Mullins. Now you're going back to conventional, traditional. Dobbs was a shooting star. He burned very brightly, and he fizzled very, very hard. And now you go back to sort of the meat and potatoes quarterback play with Mullins, who, 17 starts in his career. He's gone 5-12. So that's a season's worth of starts. He wasn't phenomenal, but he was a professional, I would say, in those 17 starts.
So you mentioned Dobbs, throwing balls that were not advantageous for their receivers. Justin Jefferson got whacked. As soon as he comes back, all of a sudden he's in the tent and then leaving the field. That was very scary. What's the latest on him?
Jefferson is planning on playing. Okay. And it looks like that was all precautionary. I'm not sure what exactly triggered the trip to the hospital, whether there was a warning sign that he had internal, bleeding or broken ribs or what exactly made it seem that severe in the moment. But it turns out it was just a bruise. And Jefferson kind of sheepishly admitted that he, was probably making it the people that were actually hurt were probably rolling their eyes at Justin Jefferson, who just had, kind of a small contusion on his torso, or his back, I should say. So he's going to be fine. He wants to play against his former teammate, Jamar Chase. They played together at LSU. That's going to be exciting for him, and I think he's good to go.
Sam, you're probably already aware of this, but I just read yesterday that the Vikings would be the first team, if Mullins can win against Cincinnati, they've got a pretty good chance of making the playoffs, to be the first team in NFL history to make the playoffs after losing their starting quarterback and rotating 3 other starters in their lineup after the injury. They'd be the first team to ever do that. They're going to Cincy, and then it's the NFC North run to finish up the season. How are they? I mean, we know on defense they're really solid. Brian Flores, please don't go. But how are they looking in Cincy this Saturday?
Yeah, well, Cincy's another team that lost its quarterback. It seems like that's a third of the league right now. You've got so many big names going down. They lose Joe Burrow. Everybody writes them off. And it's the former undrafted Viking, Jake Browning, who's leading them to victories. And not 3-0 victories either, Zep. I mean, putting 34 points on the board against the Colts last week, putting 34 points on the board against Jacksonville the week prior. So these aren't cheap wins by Cincinnati. They're earning them with a pretty good game plan built around a young, inexperienced quarterback. So I think the Vikings have to hope that, Browning's time in the spotlight comes to an end and that his shelf life expires and they can expose him. They're probably the best defense that he's faced. But they've got Jamar Chase. They've got T. Higgins. They've got Joe Mixon. They've got offensive weapons. Their defense isn't great. I mean, they're 31st in yards allowed overall. They're 30th in rush yards per attempt allowed. So there's a lot of holes in that defense, but they've been scoring. So you got to respect what they can do offensively, probably more than the Raiders with their rookie quarterback.
Yeah, now you've got, looking past Cincy, which is something the Vikings can't do, but we as fans can. Now we go Lions, Packers, Lions, and boy, hasn't the North kept it interesting again this year. The Packers looked like they were getting it together, then they didn't get it together. The Lions have been stumbling. What do you see for the Vikes here coming in those last 3 games? And I know it depends a lot on if they win this game and set themselves up at 8-6 to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I see a lot of tiebreaker calculations in our future. There's 5, 6, and 7 teams chasing them right now. So if the Vikings slip up and a handful of teams win, you're talking about a 4-way tie, 5-way tie, 6-way tie. I mean, the scenarios could get ridiculous. But the Packers are really the team that they need to stave off because if they can stay above Green Bay, that puts them number 2 in the division. And Green Bay did them a huge favor on Monday by losing to, Tommy Cutlets and the New York Giants, and that was a whole lot of fun to watch. But everybody the Vikings needed to lose lost over the weekend while the Vikings won as ugly as possible. So they've got some cushion. But the NFC North is still in play too, fellas. I mean, if they beat Detroit in that first game, suddenly they're breathing down their necks. Detroit has to go to Dallas and play after that. I mean, the Vikings could put some real pressure on the division race if they win this game and then the following week at home against Detroit.
Yeah, and Detroit has the Broncos. And I think Goff is, he's showing the reason why the Rams got rid of him in the first place. Damn good quarterback, no doubt. But he's inconsistent, especially when it gets a little closer to the playoffs. I think it's real interesting watching the Vikes and the Lions here with 2 out of the last 3.
Look at their last 5 games, too. Detroit has been horrid defensively, and they've snuck away with some wins. Like they beat the Chargers 41-38, and they beat the Bears 33-28, I think it was. I mean, they've just escaped with some wins where their defense was terrible, and it got exposed again against the Bears. So that part of their team hasn't really been fixed, and that's going to be their downfall in the playoffs, I think, is that defense, which seems to be getting worse instead of better as the season goes on.
Sam Ekstrom's with us on the KQ Morning Show. Sam, let's talk about Brian Flores. Assistant head coach, possible? I mean, are we going to upgrade his title to keep him in town? Do you think it's a foregone conclusion that he is going to be a head coach next season elsewhere?
That's a great question, and it's the $1 million question. I think Flores, and I'm very confident that Flores wants to be a head coach, and he'll get no shortage of interviews. The question is whether there's enough teams that are willing to hire a defensive-minded coach in an offensive league, and a coach that still has litigation with the NFL. He's 2 years removed from a lawsuit. So does that disqualify enough teams from pulling the trigger on Flores? Like, maybe. It probably shrinks the pool of teams that want him. I think the Vikings probably come out immediately after the final play of the season, and they say, all right, Brian, we'll double your salary, and we would love to have you back. And they'll make it worth his while, and then they just have to cross their fingers that no one hires him, because I do think he wants it. I think that this was a stepping stone job for him, and he has passed with flying colors. And it'd be hard not to see him getting a really, really good look at a head coaching job with this revolutionary defense. I mean, look at what he's created out of a bunch of guys, honestly, that are not household names, that don't have a lot of pedigree, and they're number 5 in the NFL in points allowed. It's unbelievable. So I think that more likely than not, he's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Boy,
my buddy Don says the good money is Washington.
That's it's tough though. I mean, it's me sitting here. It's easy to say, but head coach in the NFL. If you're not with a good ownership group or a good owner, and if you don't have a quarterback, you're just kind of playing tiddlywinks at this stage of the game. If you don't have the right quarterback, you're going nowhere fast.
Well, and there was a story that I think he may have even been offered the Arizona Cardinals job. I hope I'm getting that right, but I think he was very set on being in the right position, and that's why he ended up in Minnesota as the defensive coordinator here, because he liked the culture, he liked the staff, he had options, in other places, and he came to Minnesota. So I think he is going to be somewhat selective, especially after his last head coaching gig went south so fast with a bad ownership group. He is going to be selective and careful where he lands. So that's a good point. He's not going to, if the Carolina Panthers want to bring him in with a first-round quarterback who looks like a bust and a 1-16 record, that might not be his cup of tea. So you're right. Yeah, that could also disqualify some teams from his side of things.
Sam, let's talk about it. Bengals Saturday. You got a pick in this game?
Yeah, I'm feeling Bengals win, to be honest with you. I think that enough weapons. They're at home. They've got a lot of momentum right now. I'm calling a 26-20 Bengals win. Hope I'm wrong, but going on the road is hard in this league. So I'm going Cincinnati in this one. Maybe a little reverse jinx. We'll see if the Vikings can overcome my prediction.
But yeah, that would be great from your lips to the Norse god's ears. Let's see if that reverse jinx is in place. Sam, it's always a pleasure, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
You got it. It's just gonna suck when you wake up soon and hear that Brian Flores is taking a head coaching job somewhere. Because, like he just said, remember what we were, last year's defense to this year, just a spectacular turnaround Brian Flores has done, and without any of the kind of guys he would have wanted. You know what I mean? It's not like he's had a time to build that roster up. If he just gave the Vikings one more season, just give him one more year and a couple draft picks he wants, maybe get a couple of trades for guys he's got his eye on, and then, by God, I just love watching them play defense. It's been a really exhilarating season for the D.
Wouldn't you just be like leaving duffel bags of cash laying around his office? Like, where'd that come from? Merry Christmas, Brian. That just happens here in Minnesota. Just cash.
That's what I'm saying.
Falling from the sky. Yeah, no, I just think too many teams look and defensive-minded coaches. I mean, that's hot. I mean, look at Belichick. That's what he was, exiting New York, and they'll be looking for the same in Washington probably as they try to turn the culture around there for the Commanders and that previous ownership disaster. So I got a buddy that, follows it like the rest of us. He's like, he's going to Washington. But let's hope that he gets us to the playoffs here with that defense. All right, so we've just heard from our Vikings insider, Sam, legendary Minnesota musician, the Jayhawks, Gary Louris. Why not bring in one of Minnesota's top comedians? Headlining the Immortals of Comedy shows later this month, Tiffany Norton joins us at 9. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Almost forgot, and gosh, I'd feel bad if I didn't mention the fact that the Scorpions from Hanover, Germany, the Scorpions, raise your hands to the sky, Hanover. The Scorpions return to Vegas with their brand new Love at First Sting Las Vegas residency. Special guest, Ugly Kid Joe. That happens this April 11th. They run through May 3rd at the Backed Theater at Planet Hollywood, and we want to send you to opening night. One winner is going to score a trip for two. That includes round-trip air, a 2-night stay at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino, dinner for two before the show, 2 premium tickets to the concert, and, of course, an autographed Scorpions poster. Text the national keyword Scorpions to 95819 right now to enter for a chance to win. That sounds like it'll be kind of fun. Oh, and by the way, hang on. Speaking of fun, how about this? Tiffany Norton just walked in and sat down and put on headphones. And isn't that cool?
Oh, my goodness. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you for showing up.
I've never been in this studio.
Hi, Tiff.
Hi.
Man, it's like old timers. You guys go way back. Look at you. You walk in, you're telling stories.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Tiffany, you're going to be appearing Saturday, December 30th and Sunday, December 31st at the New Hope Cinema Grill. The Immortals of comedy. You and a bunch of folks, Shannon Paul, Chris Maddock, Wayne Burfind, is that how that's pronounced? And Diane Sieber. Sieber,
yeah.
Nice. Boy,
Old Sieber.
I'm knocking them out of the park here.
Yeah.
A couple nights, The Immortals. How does it feel to be an immortal?
Well, okay, funny thing about this. I thought you said it when I walked into the studio, manifest, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought, everybody comes up with these great names for shows.
Right.
Most of us on the show are middle-aged.
Okay.
Well, all of us are. And I didn't want to go with something called like the old guard.
Right.
Because I don't want the word old anywhere near me. And so I looked up what's the origin of the term, the old guard, and it's Napoleon.
Okay.
And interesting because the movie just came out.
Right.
But yeah, that was when he, after the revolution, he had his guards that protected him. And then they trained in the new guys.
Okay.
So that was the old guard and the new guard.
Got
and
it.
the old guard was also referred to as the Immortals.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so most of us have been on the scene in Minneapolis for at least 15, 20 years.
Right.
And there's a lot of, so we've got crystallized intelligence, man. Of comedy.
That's
There's
pretty
a lot
good.
of thought you put into that. You could have gone with just Laugh Fest.
I could have. Thank you, Chat GPT. It's a riot.
So are you using AI to write your act now? I mean, let's just come clean with it.
Okay, I will. I absolutely will. I wanted to see what my competition was doing.
Sure.
And I did. I asked it to do sarcastic things, and I was putting in nonsensical things, in comparison. I wasn't really prepared to answer this question, but I can't remember exactly what I did but it was like, have you ever heard of Tiffany Norton, and don't you think she's awful? And like just leading questions to see what the Chat GPT might come up with.
Sure.
And they're like, the internet shows no record of Tiffany Norton. I'm like, that's worse. That is so much worse than what you could have told me. Yeah.
No, I remember the first time I ever Googled my name, and a whole bunch of other Steve Gormans popped up, and I was like, oh, damn. Come on. I held out, and there's some guy who writes for the LA Times getting all my love? Come on.
When I started doing stand-up, I was like, well, at least my first name is unique. At least there's no other famous Tiffany comedians. And then Tiffany Haddish. Thanks.
Yeah. Get off my corner, babe.
And she's gorgeous, and she's amazing, and she's really talented, and I want to be friends with her, or I just want her to, go to Europe.
As Carrie Fisher would say, you're a basic bitch. Yeah.
Oh my God, Carrie Fisher! Now that is the queen.
Yeah,
I love her. Did you ever read her memoir?
She's
written a couple.
I've read excerpts of things that she's written, and she's obviously a spectacular writer.
Fantastic, and God rest. And I loved her, but when she's talking about her electric shock therapy, that's really.
So, did you grow up here? You're a Minnesotan.
Mm-hmm.
And at what age did it start to occur to you, like, oh, I'm kind of funny. I'm getting the attention in the room here.
Well, it really just started as a defense mechanism to deflect, And as a kid, I moved around. I went to a lot of different schools, so I was perpetually the new kid.
You better be funny.
Well, you got to do something.
Bouncing in and out of schools.
Well, you get beat up, or you're funny, or you get beat up because you're funny. That happened a couple times too. But but I realized I did it to diffuse things, but it is for sure a defense mechanism of mine. Like, get it off,
yeah,
get those feelings out of here.
Man, that girl's so funny. I had to smack her. Yeah. And so, but when did you start doing this, like, for real? Like, when did you first? I'm always fascinated by, way more than with musicians, because you walking on stage, holding a microphone and trying to get a bunch of strangers to pay attention is what I would call crazy. Needy. Okay, it's needy. So how old were you the first time you did that?
I didn't start doing, the very first time I did stand-up was 2002.
Okay.
I was in my 30s.
Got
I
it.
had been writing jokes in this little notebook since college, but
Oh, wow,
well, I'd always thought that like you had to be special or like someone would tell you should do that. Or
Sure,
like,
sure.
I don't know. I figured there was like a grooming process
Right.
or they pulled you aside, but no. And so I tried in 2002 at the old Knuckleheads at the Mall of America, if anybody remembers that place, which was great. And I learned two very valuable lessons.
Okay.
First of all, don't ever if the host of the show asks you, can someone real quick go in front of you, always say no. Because it was somebody who was like a headliner and they were amazing. And I went up there and I was like, sorry. I started apologizing. Like, sorry, I'm not going to be as funny as the last guy. This is my first time. And it was not good. And also too, don't just drink caffeine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, mix it in. Speedball a little bit, caffeine in a beer.
Yeah. I should have leveled. I should have leveled out or leveled up. I'm not sure. But then the real estate crash in 2007, 2008.
Oh, I remember it well.
Yeah, I lost my job. I'd been working in real estate, and I was like, well, I'm just going to take some time off for me, quote unquote. That was 3 years. I thought it was going to be 3 months.
Sure.
And started working on my act. Took an improv class first, though, at Brave New Workshop. And
Oh,
that
nice.
was so
Yeah.
fun. Everybody should do improv once. Everybody should.
You can't, it's a cult in a good way. Everybody I know that's ever done improv on any level takes away, in all sincerity, they'll break down all the life lessons that they have applied to every element of their life from improv. It's a pretty fascinating world.
Well, it's just what your scene partner is giving you. And it's really just you two or you three at that moment. It doesn't matter who's what, wherever else. It's like, okay, we've got to save ourselves. They're all looking at us.
Yeah. It's great. It's a valuable thing to be in over your head to figure out, how tall you are. I approach things like that myself. I'm like, I'd really rather be unprepared to find out what's happening, like why do all the homework? Just run in and see what happens.
Well, I don't know if we have enough time to delve into this subject, but can I just ask you, I think that's fundamentally kind of the difference between guys and girls.
Really?
I think women have to be over-prepared. Like, we have to own the pool and have the swimsuit. We have to have the backup pool in case the first pool doesn't work. And then we'll try to go in, get our hair done.
Well, you know what? You mentioned earlier, you thought you had to be someone special or someone had to tap you.
Yeah.
I had a few experiences early in life where, and I thankfully had someone who said, they're just like anybody else. They just did it. And it was just the idea of just do something and, just try it. And I also I'm not afraid to look like an idiot. I'm not afraid to fail, I guess, because I just figured, well, what's the worst that could happen? And I was in a small town in Kentucky just dreaming the whole time, thinking, I got to get out of here. I got to go do something. So that helped a lot too. But I think guys, ultimately what it comes down to is we're just kind of dumb.
No.
There's an element of why would I think about the ramifications of this?
We're not complicated.
Consequences? What the hell are you talking about?
Well, I knew you weren't complicated, but I would not say dumb. I see a lot of bridges.
Yeah.
I see a lot of things being built. I don't ascribe to that. Like, oh, we don't know how to do anything, NASA. What?
Yeah.
No, you guys can still figure out the garbage. Like,
yeah. Well, that's true.
Yeah, but no, I just think that there is just growing up as a woman, it's different. You are. There's a phrase in it's. I hope I don't butcher it. It's a Japanese saying, I guess, and it's the nail that sticks up must be pounded down, hammered down, right? And I think women, we do it to each other too. It's like, when Frodo falls into the water and all the things are pulling him down into the water, and don't follow the lights, Frodo. Like other women, we do that to each other in the pool. Like, No. Come down with us. So it's like, come to the light, Frodo. But
well, I got two kids in college, and I can say that the younger generations have gotten better about things on both sides. The boys don't mind crying and saying, I think I need to talk to someone, and the girls are all about yes, queen. I mean, there's a lot of support out there.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
It's Generation X. We are
Yep.
the worst. We're the least.
really-
we are the least. We're the least likely generation to believe in climate change. Did you know that? We are the least.
Gen X is?
Gen X. Yeah. Or no. I take that back. It's not that we don't believe in it. Oh, see, now the phone lines are going to line up. Okay. It's not that we don't believe in it. It's I believe that the way that it's properly phrased is that we are the least likely to vote based on it. That's what it is. It's one of the least motivating factors for us. But of course,
we're Gen X. We're just a very selfish generation. You know, we were raised by the boomers, and we got everything we wanted. We were coddled, and we got away with everything in the 80s. Just the worst behavior, the worst styles, the worst music probably. A lot of good stuff came out of the 80s. We did all of that. I think climate change, whether you deny it or not, it's obviously happening. You know, we have 8 billion people on the planet. Clearly, we've changed the climate. I just don't think a lot of us care because we feel like we're going to get out of here before it really goes to hell.
I thought we didn't care because we just grew up microwaving food, and it's like that. We just have a different view on everything.
We're not going to change. I mean, good luck to my kids. Honestly, I'll do some recycling here as I head out.
We're the Latchkey River's Edge generation.
well, that's what I was going to say. It's the latchkey. It's like, well, wait a minute. I raised myself and my brother.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to come and tell me what to do?
That's exactly right.
Boomers? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Emotional development, I don't know, but I tell you what, I was paying taxes at 14, by God.
Right?
Tiffany,
and I'm not going to get any of that Social Security number.
I need to mention this again. Tiffany Norton's going to be at the New Hope Cinnamon Grill both Saturday, December 30th and Sunday, December 31st, the Immortals. That's a hell of a way to ring in the new year. So we're all children of a certain era, and falling in, see, I was born in 65, but I'm the youngest of 8 kids, so I'm kind of a boomer family. Mm-hmm. But I'm on that, I was raised, and my parents were much older than all my friends' parents because they're from the 20s, for crying out loud. Yeah. And then so I had a real different experience. And then, but the older I've gotten, there are things that hit me all the time where I'm like, oh no, I'm just total Gen X douchebag guy. Yeah, I got all the same afflictions. I can't run from it.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to quit my job and open a brewery. That's a really Gen X move.
That is a Gen X move.
That's a pro move.
Well, let's do that together. I'm down.
Yeah. I would love. Well, I need to start a winery though.
A winery?
Actually, no, a brewery would be better. I would save more money if I had my own winery. It would just.
You've obviously looked into this. You got the breakdowns. You know what costs more money to do.
You know what? A lot of times you got to buy your own grapes.
So I'm out.
I thought you'd go with a bakery instead of a brewery or winery, Tiff.
No. Bakery, I would love it. I would love to have a bakery, except the hours. It's too early.
First concert you saw as a kid, like first time you went to see a band or a singer and you were like, oh, I can't wait. Like the first big concert you remember that was cool, what was it?
Whitney Houston.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was free.
Even better?
Harriet Island.
I was there. I saw that
Really?
show.
Were you there?
I was backstage, actually.
I thought you looked familiar.
Drooling and fawning over Whitney.
Yeah.
You brought her the drugs.
Yes, I did.
Damn it, Tony.
I thought
Crack
it was
is whack.
Bobby. It was Tony this whole time that threw off the rails. Yeah. She had just, I Want to Dance with Somebody had just come out. And we used to have this free on the 4th of July weekend, or I think that's when it was, down at Harriet Island, and Taste of Minnesota. And she played there. Wow. And I saw Dan Gladden from the Twins in the crowd.
That's
Dan
exciting.
Gladden and Whitney Houston at the same event.
And I'm not attracted to redheaded men, but Dan Gladden in the day.
Could have done a lot worse. Could have done a lot worse in the Twin Cities.
Does it not know?
The Immortals of Comedy, Tiffany Norton, Shannon Paul, Chris Maddock, Wayne Burfind, and Diane Sieber at the New Hope Cinema Grill, Saturday and Sunday, December 30th and 31st. I know that's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm happy that you had the time to come by today.
Everybody, you guys can come if you want.
We can all come?
Yeah, if you want to.
I will be out of town, sadly.
Oh, shoot.
I would love to come otherwise.
Okay.
But, next time you got a gig, come on by.
All right, excellent.
All right, right on. Tiffany, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Great news for me and my wife. Oh. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. A study from the University of Michigan looked at the health records of over 250,000 people. Basically, they've come up with this. Having kids makes you live longer, but only if you have 2 kids.
Oh, score.
Bam, baby. Woohoo! Parents with 2 kids are up to 10% more likely to make it to 76 than people who don't reproduce, but don't have that 3rd kid. Because every time you add a kid to the list, your numbers go down. 3 kids, a death sentence. 2 kids, perfectly good.
Yeah.
Only 76 though?
Well, yeah. I
Come
mean,
on.
again, you got to take everything with a grain of salt. My mom had 8 kids, and she's still kicking at 95. So, you know, what are you going to do? This is kind of crazy. If you have more kids than 2, you're less likely to make it than someone who doesn't even have kids. Apparently, they're saying that exhaustion you feel as a new parent takes its toll. Man,
I believe that.
Years, gray hairs.
Yeah, I remember the first time I realized I'd crossed the Rubicon as a parent, and it was I had a toddler, I had a baby, and I also was speaking with a friend, another musician who didn't have kids, and he was complaining about how he can't get everything done in a day that he needs to do. And I said, Steve, you need to just not say anything, because it would be inappropriate for you to stand up across the room and bitch slap your friend who has no idea what he's talking about. I was like, oh, it's hard to get everything you need to do done in a day, and you live alone and you don't even have a goldfish. Oh, please tell me how hard your life is all of a sudden.
Well, you got to roll the joints.
Man, yeah.
And then you got to make that sandwich. It's not just peanut butter and jelly. You're putting ham in there, and it's exhausting.
Ham.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whatever you find. Was that a sound drop?
Sorry. Me and Tony have an inside joke about ham.
Yeah.
Really? Do you want to make it an outside joke and bring us all
I
in?
literally don't. It's not even a joke. It's just something that we do sometimes. We say the word ham like that.
Began in Brainerd, up north.
Yep.
Really?
North trip.
Yeah. You guys have. This is what you've been keeping under wraps all this time, and now you decide to break the ham thing out in the open.
It involved a cocktail or two and just an odd statement that stuck.
Sure. Cocktail or two. Yeah. That happened when we were all up at Brainerd.
Yeah.
Because when I think back to Brainerd, cocktail or two is exactly what comes to mind.
Good times.
Ham. Yeah.
And I still have a headache from that weekend.
Hey, no ham in the building.
Wow.
No ham allowed.
There's a whole story here. I can't wait to get the whole rundown from.
Sorry, it just came out.
It's going to catch on.
Yeah. Well, it's all ham these days, kids.
No ham in the studio.
Wow, that's really working for you, isn't it, Candace? I don't recall ever having ham in the studio, but now by God, I'm coming in here tomorrow with a ham and Swiss on rye. You can bet your bottom dollar.
Be careful.
There was a punk band in Atlanta called Ham and Swiss on Fire, which I always thought was a great band
That
name.
is a good name.
Yeah. This is good. I liked it. So here's a quick story out of Austin, Texas, which I just love. I love true crime, but not the kind of true crime where it's like, is he a serial killer or not? Just stupid crime that people do for no reason. And this is my favorite of the day. A 27-year-old woman in Austin was on her way to the airport. She hailed an Uber. And as they were driving, she mentioned to the driver, hey, how long do you think this is going to take? And he said, well, the GPS says whatever it was, 35 minutes. And she got upset. She goes, no, I need to get there sooner. I can't wait. You've got to hurry up. You've got to go. You've got to go. You've got to go. And the guy's going, ma'am, I'm in traffic. There's nothing I can do. She reaches across and grabs his phone and throws it out the window of the car.
Oh,
good thinking.
Whoa.
Right into the grass. He pulls over immediately. He can't believe she did it. He yells at her. He steps out of the car to go retrieve his phone, and she hops in the driver's seat and races to the airport on her own.
She's a genius.
Yeah.
An evil genius.
Yeah. She steals the car. The driver, of course, finds his phone, immediately calls 911, says, I am an Uber driver, and my customer just stole my car. Airport security catches up to her before she's able to get on her plane. The car was abandoned right in front of the Southwest terminal. She didn't think to park it to avoid, you can't leave a car right out in front of an airport anymore. In the old days, you could.
Please tell me she made her flight and they can't find her. She made it away safe.
No, they nabbed her, man. man. I hate to say it. She did not make it to the plane. By the way, she still managed. This is what kind of a hurry she was in. She went shopping at the airport.
Oh, she stopped.
She bought more than $120 worth of stuff with the Uber driver's credit card.
Oh, okay.
She's
you're losing me.
She's incredible. Her name is Nisha Uvkami, and she's just looks like your standard average meth head, I guess. I don't know. I'm looking at a picture of her. She had a plan, and by God, she executed.
I wonder if she even had a flight,
That. Yeah, really. She just woke up on a bender. I got to get to the airport. I think I'm supposed to be somewhere. Oh, that reminds me. A buddy of mine, a great musician, a great guitarist. I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if this is a story he's told publicly, but he's been sober over 30 years. And I said, what was it? What was the rock bottom? When did you wake up and realize, like, I have to get sober? He goes, oh, well, this is a guy in Nashville. He said, well, I remembered that it was a Thursday afternoon, and I went to a bar. I went into a pub in the afternoon, and I remembered sitting down and having a couple of beers. And then the next thing I could remember clearly was waking up. I sat up in bed. I was in a dark room, and I could tell right away. He had been a touring musician for years. He goes, I was in a motel or a hotel, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm in a hotel. He goes, and in the bed with me was not one but two women. All of us were fully clothed.
Hello.
Just passed out, drunk.
Sure.
Still had his boots on, for crying out loud. And he sat up and he's like, oh my gosh, we must have left that bar and gotten a room, but we were all just drugging and drinking so much we just passed out. And then he heard the sound of an airplane like taking off very close, and he's like, why would we come out to an airport motel? And then he picked up the phone and he just hit 0, and the operator said, this is a guy who started the day on Thursday in Nashville, Tennessee, and when this awakening happened, it was Saturday night, and he was at a Holiday Inn Airport, Toronto.
How?
Rock and roll!
Toronto.
Wow.
No recollection of the previous 2.5 days.
Wow.
And I go, that was when you knew you had to stop? Because that's when I knew I had to stop. No, literally, he had his passport right there. His passport's right there. The girls he's with, they went through the whole night in Nashville apparently. But then he, backtracking it, sometime on Friday, they were like, "Let's fly to Toronto." Okay, and all of them did. He had no recollection of any of it.
A functioning blackout.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't know how this was probably back before 9/11, so you
it was, yeah.
Probably get on a plane drunk, might even been able to crack a bomb joke, but he got through the whole process. A functioning blackout. That's rare. It's
really impressive. Lot of chemicals involved in that caper, as they say. We all talk about like, oh man, I did this and I had some crazy days, and I heard that story and I was like, holy crap! I never got past kindergarten as a drinker. That's professional grade malfeasance right there. Very impressive. All right, as long as we're looking back and going down memory lane, let's have ourselves a history lesson. 2019, on this day, Joe Burrow won the Heisman Trophy. He was the quarterback that season for the LSU Tigers. He was fantastic. A transfer from Ohio State. Couldn't get on the field at Ohio State. Goes to LSU and wins the Heisman. It was a good day for Joe Burrow. It was a great day for Joe Burrow's father, because before the season started, he put a $2,000 bet on his kid to win the Heisman that season at a sports book in Vegas. He put $2,000 down on a 200-to-1 bet slip, which means he got $400,000 when his son was announced as the Heisman Trophy winner.
Winner,
chicken dinner, baby.
Yeah.
On this day in 2021, Steph Curry became the all-time three-point shot maker in NBA history. He passed Ray Allen. The fact that it took Steph Curry until 2021 to pass Ray Allen tells me we have all forgotten how great Ray Allen was. He was shooting three-pointers back in the days when teams would take 6 or 8 total in a game. He was hitting a lot of three-pointers. The modern era is all about the threes, and it still took Steph until 21 to pass him. Ray Allen, sorry I forgot all about you, brother. Nice job.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.